Hey folks, this is Gray here, and today we're going to be looking at a tabletop reverse osmosis system by SimPure. So in this video, we're going to do a couple of things. We'll take a close-up look at the SimPure itself. The model number of this one is the SimPure Y7P-BW for the folks that want to look this up, but I'll also put links down in the description. What we'll do is, like I said, we'll take a look at the front, the functionality of it, stuff like that, go over some of the specifications. It's kind of a plug-and-play reverse osmosis system, which I think is really cool. And for some of you folks that have like RVs or whatnot, I think this would be a great addition to RVers as well, to have clean water at your disposal, depending on the situation that happens to arise, depending on where you're at. So also in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to do some testing of the water. We're going to test the reverse osmosis water that comes out of this. We're going to test my tap water. We're going to test my water from the hose, as well as testing some bottled water. Now, to be frankly honest, I've tested this bottled water before. It's one of the lowest TDS bottled waters that I've ever found. That's why I continue to buy it. So just to kind of let you know that in advance, that this thing has beat out everything that I possibly can get. But as with all plastic bottles, there's always a risk for long-term storage. All right, so before we get a close-up look at the SimPure reverse osmosis tabletop system, I wanted to give you guys some information in regards to the unit itself. It is a 4-stage countertop reverse osmosis and UV water filtration, which is awesome. Again, there's no installation other than when you have to flush the system, and by pushing water through the filters when you first get it, you want to flush the system to get the water filters going and getting them all primed up per se. You also have some really cool functions on this. You have a 6-ounce, 12-ounce, and a 15-ounce water that dispenses from the unit itself. It has some lights on here that kind of tells you if there's anything going on with it. From my understanding, they also have a warranty on this system. And it meets all like the government regulations and standards. I will put a link to that article or that specific document in the description as well, along with the links to this. In regards to discount codes, if I have any, or affiliate codes, I will actually put that down there because SimPure did give me this device to do a review on. I've done something with them before, which was the Membrane Solutions, roughly the same company. And if you haven't seen that portable, basically water filtration that you can keep in your go bag, I'll throw that up somewhere up on the screen. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what this purifies, and I'm not going to go every single one. Again, that will be in the document documented down below that you can click the link on. But I did have some written down right here. It removes total dissolved solids at a 98.64%. It removes fluoride at 97.28%. It removes nitrates, which is 96.26%. It'll remove chlorine at 99.945%. For you folks that have pools, just kind of like a little side note there. Lead, which is 98.34%. This one is PFOS/PFOA at 98.3%. And if you want to look at that up, it'll give you the descriptions of what PFOSs and PFOAs are. And the last one I have here is chromium, 99.2%. And the reason I'm bringing that up is there was an article in July that specifically stated that 45% of the U.S. drinking water is tainted with forever chemicals. So having a way to purify water that's something this simple, outside of using, let's say, a under the sink version, which is going to take you some instructions in regards to installing and stuff like that. Matter of fact, I'll put up this, what is it called? This little graphic here that kind of shows you how much more efficient this tabletop version is versus an under the water sink, which creates a lot more installation and issues and stuff like that you have to know how and have some sort of understanding of how a little bit of plumbing works when you install those systems. It's not hard, but this is just a kind of like a plug and play device. Also, real quick, before we get up close and personal with this thing here, I wanted to say, if for you folks out there in your RVs or folks that want to use this for an emergency, this thing is rated at 30 watts. So 30 watts, this thing will last you a long time. And this thing will also go through, I think, is it 400 gallons a day or something like that? And if I had that information, I'll throw that up on the screen as well. All right, enough of my rambling on. Let's get a close-up look at this and then also get into the testing, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so let's kind of take a look at the exterior of the SimPure reverse osmosis system here. Kind of give you an idea how it looks. And for some of you folks that are wondering, will it fit on your kitchen counter? It is 18 inches long by 8 inches wide and about 17 inches in height. So that kind of gives you somewhat of an idea of the size of the unit if you wanted to put it back there on, let's say, your countertop, depending on how much countertop space that you have. All right, so let's kind of discuss the operation of the unit once it's plugged in and once you have the system flushed. I'll go over that once we go to the back system of this, and we'll talk about the flushing part. But initially, to operate the system, I got a little thing here, cup and whatnot, so you guys can see it. But if I touch one of these buttons, as you can see how it highlights, you have a flushing button there, the 6 ounce, the 12 ounce, and the 15 ounce, and then of course if you want to reset the unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the 15 ounce here. You can come down here and see it dispensing. And basically it's pulling from the back reservoir, and you do have a max fill line right there. Let that finish itself off. It is highlighted that I'm using the 15 ounces right there, and the UV light is on as well. And like I said, this is going to be going through several different filters. There we go. It automatically shuts off once it reaches the 15 ounces. And there we go. And if you want to take a look at that, to me that's some pretty clear water outside of the, this cup is probably not the cleanest, but just to kind of give you guys an idea of the water itself. All right, so in the back of the unit, to fill this unit up, you can remove this, and let's say if you had water already from the sink, you can fill it up this way by using water that way, or you can actually remove this whole thing here by lifting it up and pulling back on it. You can remove that. It also gives you access to your filters, and there you go. Also, there's some issues that if you ever run into, which are in the instructions, is you want to pay attention to your float device, because you will get an error code, but I haven't had any issues yet. But basically this lets you know when your water's down low, so that you can be aware of it. But also on the front of the screen here, I'm pretty sure it'll tell you right there that there is a change water because there's needs to be filled up. All right, so as you can see back here, you have 2 filters here. This is your RO filter and your CF filter. Kind of gives you some information there in regards to the filter. And to change these filters is actually relatively easy, because you're just going to pull on these and take them out. And if you can see there, it's a close and open, so that you can just twist the unit itself. You just twist this to close it or open it to put your new filters in. So the question I know I'm going to get asked is, well, what do these filters cost? So what I did is I went ahead and printed off their website so that I have current pricing. And the CF filter, which is that one there, is going to run you $22.99, and then the RO filter is going to run you $34.99. You replace these roughly every 6 months per their website. I also wanted to show you this diagram right here so that you can see how the whole system works. You have your feed tank, which holds about 1.3 gallons. Then you have your PP plus CTO filter, which is going to be that guy there. And then you have your reverse osmosis system, and then your internal pure water reservoir. And that's just basically, it's going to hold a certain amount of water that's going to be filtered out of the front of the unit, which is right here. And as you also see, that's where the UV light is going to finally do that finalization of that process as it's processing all this water through your system to right here. And then there you go, you get your clean water from there. All right, folks, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and test this water with the TDS meter. Again, that stands for total dissolved solids, and it'll give us a baseline. Now, this meter is only testing for TDS. It's not testing for bacteria, viruses, heavy metals, all that stuff like that. If I was you, I would always say at least every 6 months, go to your local place that you can get your water tested, because you may also, depending on where you live at, if there's a natural disaster or a boil water alert, you're going to need a good way to, take care of filtering water and whatnot to have clean water for you and your family. And at being able to go through 418 gallons a day, to me, that's a solid system. There's lots of other systems out there. Some are just as good, or some may even be better. But this is just one other option for you to have. All right, so we have 4 cups lined up here. This is my pool water. This is going to be the bottled water. This is going to be the sink water, which we can go ahead and grab that now. Turn on the sink there. Fill that up. Get our sink water. Put that in line for testing. Move that over. Hopefully I don't make a mess with this. Let me try to pour the pool water in here one-handed. There we go. Or not, I keep on saying pool water. This is hose water. My apologies, folks. And you can already even see, I don't know if you can see the cloudiness of the hose water versus the sink water. And then, of course, we're going to put the bottled water in there. And while I'm going to do the bottled water, let me see if I can open this one-handed. Matter of fact, let me do this over the sink so that I don't make a mess. Sometimes doing things by yourself can get messy, so I'm going to go ahead and do this in the sink just because I'm about cleanliness. So we're going to head fill that up with the bottled water. And if you folks are curious, especially if you live in Florida or if you have a GFS anywhere near your area, like I said, this water is out of Ocala, Florida, by Gordon Food Services, out of Wyoming, Michigan. But it's a deep well out of Ocala, Florida, where this water is sourced from. And of course, like I said, if you're really interested, you can kind of get all that information there. Very helpful, folks. All right, last but not least, we're going to do about 6 ounces of water from the RO system. And that will give us our 4 samples that we're going to be to test with a TDS meter. Some people ask if the water is cold or hot. My average temperature for this water is about 70 degrees. I don't know if it's because my house is at 72, but that's what I get about when I measure the temperature of this water. So it's a little cooler. I don't know if it's the system doing it or not, but who knows. So I got my marker ready just so we can write down the TDS for each of the water tests. I'm going to go ahead and pull the cap off this, turn the TDS meter on, and you can see that it is all zeros. Now, you'll see numbers on here, but you'll have to know how to use the decimal point, because the decimal point you have to add. There's some more fancier TDS meters out there, but I've had this one probably for over 15 years, to be honest with you. All right, so let's go ahead and test the hose water. Stick that in there. Matter of fact, let me bring this up a little closer so you guys can see this as it's happening. So we get that on there. I'm gonna let it settle. Looks like it's hanging around, what, 31? Kind of went too deep on that one, but. All right, so about 31.2. Shake that off there. My meter is back to 0. That was a 31.2. All right, moving on to, this is the sink water. Let's go ahead and test that. See where we end up there. Definitely better than the hose water for sure. And looks like we're going to be hanging around 29.5. Write that down, 29.5. All right, let's move on to our, make sure this is at 0. Let's move to our bottled water. This one might surprise a lot of you folks out there, but this is the best bottled water that I have found in the market for the lowest TDS possible. As you can see, that is a 0.04. There's no decimal there, but that's how it works. If you guys have more questions in regards to these meters, I would suggest doing some follow-up research so that you can understand how they work. But that's going to be a 0.04, folks. Every other bottled water I've tested can be any range from, the lowest I've ever seen is a 0.7 or 0.07, or they usually go all the way up to about 14. So we're going to go ahead and write that down. 0.04, and then we're going to finally test our RO water. We're back to all zeros. Put that in there and see what we are at. And it looks like we're hanging around a 4.5. And the reason I've held on to this TDS meter for so long is just because it's always been accurate. This was actually calibrated through some professionals at my water facility. That's why I've kind of stuck with this guy here. So we're at a 4.5 on the RO water. All right, have that reset back to 0, cap that, and write that down. All right, so kind of let's look at our findings and what they mean. So bring this up to the camera. As you can see here, there is a big difference across the board between the hose water and the sink water. Not a huge difference, but you kind of see there's a difference in the two. But the biggest difference is going to be your RO system. This is your sink here, folks. This is your RO system. Now, bottled water, this specifically bottled water, actually goes through a very heavy process to get this number. That's why I choose this bottled water versus others. I've used the Zephyr Hills and all the other generic brands from Walmart. They're all a lot higher than this for purified water. But as you can see, if you're just using normal sink water, there is a major difference in total dissolved solids from your sink to the RO system. This number is awesome. Now, if you're looking at what's safe to drink on a TDS meter, that's also online. You can just look at the TDS and it'll kind of give you a breakdown if you're curious about that information. Well, all right, folks. So that's going to conclude this video in regards to the SimPure reverse osmosis tabletop system. And honestly, I'm thoroughly impressed with the unit. I like it. It's a small form factor, at least from my perspective. And like I said, if you're interested in something like this, or if you're looking to get some more information on it, I will put the link down below. It is probably going to be an affiliate link. So if you do click on that link, to be transparent, they are small incentives for me to do these reviews. But I like to do reviews, honest reviews. So in regards to, I really can't find too many negative aspects I've run into this unit personally. And I would suggest, folks, that with any review that you watch on YouTube, your best bet is to kind of watch multiple reviews of this product to get other folks' opinion. Just because the way I feel about it, someone else may feel different. And you can also look, I think Rudy the Alaska Prepper did a version of this this reverse osmosis system as well. You can check out his video as well as many others out there. But anyways, folks, I hope you got some value out of this and see how important it is to have, clean water for you and your family to drink, because you can see the comparison just to your sink water in general. And just imagine if there's a boil water alert or some sort of natural disaster presents itself, like here in Florida, the hurricanes, and you need to, have a way of access to having clean water. And this is just one tool in your prepper toolbox, per se, that's going to benefit you and your family. It's a nice little compact unit. I really like it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And of course, if you got any value or enjoyment out of this video, hit that thumbs up button. It's truly appreciated. And if you're new here, please take the time to subscribe and check out the rest of the channel. Other than that, folks, remember, you are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in a rebound, and God bless. Again, thank you for watching.